Hi, this is Jamie Stenziano from Clarion Research. For this edition of Street Sessions, it's game day, and we'll be doing a little New York Giants tailgating here at the new Meadowlands Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey. Clarion Research Street Sessions are a unique qualitative marketing research tool, collecting consumer insights and opinions through man-on-the-street interviews. Today, we're conducting brand exploratory research about a few different types of popular beers, asking tailgaters here in the Northeast their thoughts on these brands and what each brand means or represents to them. Let's see what they have to say. What's the first image that pops in your mind when you think about Coors Light?
A train and silver mountains.
The train going through, everything's frozen.
The Rocky Mountains and the train.
Taste the Rockies. The commercials where the train comes through a wall and everything cools off.
Fresh, distilled from the Rockies, the blue cans.
Okay, who's the typical Coors Light drinker? Describe that person to me.
I picture Coors Light as more of a chick drink.
It's not like a Budweiser. You don't feel like a man when you're drinking it.
I guess it's more girly. Right, boys don't usually get it at a bar. It's like too wimpy for them.
First thoughts, first image that comes into your head when you think about Bud Light?
When I think about Bud Light, funny commercials. Their commercials are good. They're funny.
Trendy. Oh, you see the commercials all the time, but they got the golden weed out now, and the Bud Light lime was a hit in the summer. So their advertisement is great.
Sports oriented, usually pretty funny, so a lot of humor in the commercials, so that's good.
Who's the typical Bud Light drinker in your mind? Describe that person for me.
Oh, college kids, 100%.
College student.
Us and all our friends.
Probably.
I feel like 20s.
Probably my age, just out of college.
What about Miller? Is that any different from Coors Light or Bud Light?
You know, you don't really hear much about Miller.
They got that new bottle with like the swirls on it. There's not much else.
The image of it, I miss the old Miller Lite commercials. Those were hysterical back.
Which ones?
In the 70s and early 80s with Billy Martin, George Steinbrenner, and Rodney Dangerfield.
I just switched to Miller Lite to the 64. So I lost about 125 pounds. So I'm drinking Miller Lite all the time now.
Who's the typical Miller Lite drinker to you?
Well, it's probably someone in their late 30s, early 40s that appreciates the taste and doesn't want something heavy.
Okay.
You have an answer?
I think it's more of an older person's light beer. All the young kids seem to be drinking like Bud Light and other light beers.
The Miller Lite drinker is probably like the guy in his mid-30s or early 30s, trying to watch his weight but still wants a good tasting beer. Most of the time it's women or guys that aren't tough.
Mostly women. If I'm in a bar, a lot of women have a Miller Lite.
What's the first thing you think about when you think about Amstel Light?
Premium. I'll buy an Amstel Light I'll get an Amstel Light when I feel like it's a good occasion where I don't mind spending an extra couple bucks. If you're a beer drinker and you don't want to drink a wine or something like that, or if you think if you're at a more clubbier type environment where maybe a mixed drink would be more appropriate, you probably drink an Amstel sort of get by. I consider Amstel Light more high class, I guess.
Upper class and too expensive.
Like you wouldn't drink Amstel Light here. Like you'd be like out at a nice place.
Who drinks Amstel Light?
Definitely girls that are trying to calorie watch, I think.
Yes.
I've met many girls.
It's in there with like Michelob to me, Michelob Ultra.
Yeah. Right? Definitely, it's more. It tastes better than Coors, but I think it's a good chick drink.
Amstel Light, I'm going to say chick beer.
What's the first thing that pops in your mind when you think about Budweiser?
Probably tradition. It's been around the longest, I think.
You go with classic. The horses, the Christmas commercials.
Budweiser's kind of like the American beer, You always got to have it when you're tailgating. When you're doing stuff with the boys and the guys, you're always going to have Budweiser, That red and white label is just, just manly.
If you had to sum up Budweiser in one or two words, what would you say?
America's beer.
America's colors, the red, white, and blue. American.
Who's the typical Budweiser drinker? Can you describe that person for me?
I would say a male 30 in their 30s and 40s tailgating or going to a hockey game or some sports event.
I don't see people my age drinking it really that much.
Joe Six-Pack. Lunch pail guy. guy stopping in the bar for a beer on the way home from work?
That's the working man guy. That's the construction guy driving the pickup, drinking the Budweiser beer.
What about Corona? First thing that comes to mind.
Beach, summer, beach and
Sand,
limes.
lime,
Mexico.
deliciousness.
Pretty women on the beach, drinking beer, a little bit of lime in it, sunlight, getting a tan.
Corona's summer beer. That to me, that's my favorite beer in the summertime. At the beaches, the commercials are great commercials.
The beach.
Refreshing, definitely. Yeah.
Definitely the vacation beer.
Who's the typical Corona drinker to you?
I think anyone can get down with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's for nice weather. Someone that wants to. Yeah, it's for a summer beer mostly.
I don't see that as more of a type of person or a specific market they're going for. To me, it's more of just a beach summer. That's the kind of beer you drink in that kind of environment. So I don't really see that as more of a type of person. It's more the environment and time of year to me.
Is this a beach to you? Is this your beach? Is it something that...
You know what? It's our fall beach.
Okay.
We're big summer people. We live at the beach.
Right.
We live in a shore town. And, when you can't go to the beach, fall is football. So you bring the beach to wherever you're going.
Find your beach. I've seen the commercial, find your beach. This isn't my beach. This is football. I don't know. It's just not... Corona doesn't jump out at me as like, I got to get Corona to go to the football game.
So there you have it. Each of the beers we focused on have unique brand identities and perceptions among these tailgaters here in the Northeast. Of the 6 beers we covered, Coors Light and Budweiser have the strongest brand imageries. For Coors Light, it's all about the Rocky Mountains and the Silver Bullet Train, which communicate to these tailgaters the Coors Light brand promise of cold, refreshing beer. For Budweiser, it's more of an emotional buy-in. The traditions of the Clydesdale horses, Red, White, and Blue America, and the blue-collar worker are the key brand identifiers for Bud. These tailgaters tell us that while the typical Coors Light drinker is usually female, the typical Bud drinker is usually a blue-collar, middle-aged man. For Bud Light, the commercials are the first thing these tailgaters think about. Bud Light commercials are seen as sports-oriented, funny, and appear to have a larger presence than those of the other brands that we covered. These tailgaters also tell us that Bud Light is most popular among a younger crowd, typically among college students or recent graduates. Unlike the other brands that we focused on, Miller Lite does not appear to have a concrete brand identifier among these tailgaters. These tailgaters had trouble identifying a Miller Lite brand image, and most associate Miller Lite with health-conscious, middle-aged people who want a distinct tasting beer with low calorie count. In contrast with the other brands we covered, Amstel Light is perceived as a sophisticated beer that these tailgaters associate with a high-end restaurant or bar, or other special event like a wedding. Amstel Light drinkers are typically seen as being upper class and corporate, or as women who are calorie watching. The one image that consistently came to mind when these tailgaters thought about Corona was the beach in summer. They tell us that Corona doesn't necessarily have the stereotypical drinker. It's more about the environment or location that they're in. In terms of advertising, it appears that these tailgaters are not fully convinced that they can find their beach when drinking a Corona in other settings. So as you can see, the 6 brands of beer we covered have distinct brand perceptions and imageries among these tailgaters here in the Northeast, which made for some interesting brand exploratory research. I'm Jamie Stenziano for Clarion Research Street Sessions. Till next time.